The sound woke me around 2:30 in the morning. It wasn't loud at first, just a soft metallic click somewhere below the cabin floor. I remember opening my eyes slowly and staring into complete darkness, while the wind pushed snow against the windows outside. The heater still worked beside the bed, and the orange glow from the fireplace downstairs barely reached the hallway upstairs. Everything looked normal for a few seconds, then the sound came again. Click. Drag. Click. Like someone moving something heavy across. But very carefully, I sat upright immediately after hearing it the third time. The cabin owner told me earlier that the place used to belong to his grandfather. Parts of it were over 80 years old. At the time, the creaking and settling sounded normal enough, but this noise felt different. Deliberate. Controlled. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand. No signal. That already bothered me because I had service earlier that night. I turned on my flashlight and stepped into the hallway slowly. The cabin felt colder outside the bedroom. Almost damp. Almost damp. Every floorboard creaked loudly under my weight while I walked toward the staircase. Halfway there, the sound stopped completely. That sudden silence made my stomach tighten immediately. I stood there listening for almost a full minute. Nothing moved. The wind outside died too. The entire cabin felt frozen in place. Then I smelled something strange drifting from downstairs. Wet soil. Fresh soil. Like dirt after heavy rain. I remember whispering hello. Without even realizing it, my own voice sounded weak in the dark hallway. No answer came back. I moved downstairs carefully, holding the flashlight with both hands now. The living room looked exactly how I left it earlier. Fireplace still glowing faintly. Backpack near the couch. Empty coffee mug on the table, but something felt wrong immediately. The large rug near the center of the room had shifted several inches sideways. I knew it moved because earlier I lined it perfectly with the fireplace tiles. Now, one corner folded awkwardly toward the kitchen. I stared at it for several seconds before slowly walking closer. That smell of wet dirt grew stronger with every step. Then I noticed muddy marks across the wooden floor beside the rug. Not footprints, exactly. More like long streaks, like something heavy had been dragged recently. My flashlight beam drifted toward the edge of the rug again, undernetted. I could see part of a metal ring attached to the floorboards. My chest immediately went cold. I grabbed the rug corner carefully and pulled it back. There was a square wooden trapdoor hidden underneath. Fresh dirt covered the edges around it. The metal handle looked wet. And worst of all, the trapdoor stood slightly open already. I should have left right then. I know that now. But fear does strange things when your mind cannot fully understand what's happening. Part of me honestly believed there had to be a simple explanation. I knelt beside the opening slowly and pointed my flashlight downward. The smell rising from underneath almost made me gag. Wet dirt mixed with something rotten and stale. I called out again, louder this time. Still no answer. But a few seconds later, I heard movement below. Very soft movement, like someone shifting their weight carefully on packed soil. I backed away from the trapdoor immediately. My heartbeat sounded painfully loud in my ears now. Then a voice drifted upward from the darkness. Quiet. Calm. Almost tired sounding. Please close it. Every hair on my arms stood up instantly. The voice sounded human, but something felt wrong about the way it spoke. Too slow. Too careful. I couldn't answer. After several seconds, the voice spoke again. You shouldn't look down here. I finally forced myself to speak. I asked who they were and how they got inside the cabin. Silence followed for nearly 10 seconds. Then came a soft laugh from below. Inside, the voice whispered back, I was here first. The floor beneath me creaked, suddenly somewhere behind the couch. I spun around fast with the flashlight raised. Nothing stood there, but when I turned back toward the trapdoor, the opening looked wider than before. I could now see part of a pale hand gripping the staircase railing below. Long fingers, mud packed beneath the nails. The hand disappeared instantly after the flashlight landed on it. Then I heard fast movement underneath the cabin. Scraping. Crawling. The voice started speaking again from below, but now it sounded farther away somehow. Don't let it hear you upstairs. Before I could even process it, a loud bang exploded from somewhere above me. Directly upstairs, I froze completely. Another bang followed seconds later. Something heavy slammed against the wall. Then came slow footsteps across the ceiling overhead. Walking from my bedroom toward the staircase, but nobody had passed me downstairs. Nobody could have gone up there. I backed into the kitchen while the footsteps continued. Every step sounded heavy enough to shake dust from the ceiling beams. The person below the trapdoor stayed completely silent now. Only the thing upstairs moved. I remember staring toward the staircase. Then, slowly, very slowly, something began walking down toward me. One step at a time. The old wood creaked horribly. I pointed the flashlight toward the staircase and finally saw part of a figure standing there. Tall, thin, wearing dark clothes, soaked with mud. Its face stayed hidden behind the railing shadows, but I could hear breathing coming from it. Wet breathing, like damaged lungs. It stopped halfway down and tilted its head slightly toward me. Then the voice from below the trapdoor whispered suddenly behind me. "It found ye." I turned instinctively toward the sound. The trapdoor stood fully open now. A pale face stared upward. I only saw it clearly for a second. Bald head, mud covering the skin, eyes completely black. Its mouth stretched into a weak smile. I looked back toward the staircase instantly. The tall figure had moved closer without making a sound. It now stood at the bottom step. The smell coming off it hit immediately. Wet earth and something rotten. The figure just stared at me silently while its chest moved. Then it opened its mouth slightly and spoke in the exact same voice from beneath the trapdoor. "You opened it again." Before I could react, something grabbed my ankle hard from underneath the kitchen table. I screamed and kicked backward violently. Mud-covered hands pulled themselves from the darkness beneath the tablecloth. Another face appeared there. Same black eyes, same smile. I ran instantly after that. I just moved. The cabin erupted behind me with crashing sounds as I sprinted toward the front door. Footsteps thundered across the floor from multiple directions now. Some upstairs, some below me, some directly behind me. I unlocked the door and stumbled into the snow outside barefoot and half-dressed. The storm had grown worse during the night. Wind slammed against me hard enough to blur my vision. I ran toward my truck while hearing the cabin door creaked open behind me. Against every instinct, I looked back once. 3 figures stood inside the warm cabin doorway, watching me silently. One tall, one crouched low beside the floor, and one standing behind them in complete darkness, where the living room should have been. I locked myself inside the truck and nearly dropped the keys trying to start the engine. My breathing fogged the glass from inside. I looked toward the cabin repeatedly while turning the ignition. The engine refused to start. The 3 figures remained perfectly still. Then, suddenly the crouched figure crawled forward onto the porch with unnatural speed. Its limbs bent strangely beneath its body. I finally got the engine started and reversed so fast, I nearly slid into the trees. The headlights swept across the cabin one last time. The doorway was empty again. Completely empty. I drove nearly 40 minutes before finding a gas station open near the highway. Police eventually returned with me after sunrise. The living room rug was folded neatly beside the wall. The trapdoor stood wide open. One officer actually joked nervously about moonshine before shining his flashlight below. The staircase ended after only 6 steps. Underneath the cabin there was no cellar, no tunnel, just packed, frozen earth. Directly beneath the foundation, they found no footprints upstairs. But one thing bothered them badly. The dirt around the trapdoor looked freshly disturbed from underneath, not above. An older officer quietly asked if the property used to belong to the Harlow family. The owner immediately went pale after hearing that name. In 1978, 3 members of the Harlow family disappeared during a storm. Search teams found the trapdoor open days later. The father's body was discovered buried beneath the foundation dirt, but the children themselves were never found anywhere. The cabin was abandoned for years because renters kept reporting voices beneath the floor at night. The owner swore he sealed the trapdoor. I believed him too. Until last month, because I woke around 3 a.m. in my apartment hearing metal scrape softly beneath my bed. Click, drag, click. and when I looked underneath with my phone flashlight, there was dirt on the floor. Fresh, wet, dirt, and a narrow wooden door I know wasn't there before. I woke up to tapping. Directly under my bed. Not outside the cabin. Not on the walls. Under the floorboards. The sound came in groups of 3. Tap, tap, tap. Then silence. I stayed still for almost a minute. The cabin heater buzzed softly beside me. Snow pushed against the windows outside. Everything else felt dead quiet. Then it happened again. Tap, tap, tap. Closer this time. I grabbed my phone from the table. 2:14 a.m. No signal. I remember staring at the floor beside my bed. The wood looked old, warped from moisture. There was a thin crack between 2 planks. Darkness sat inside it. I told myself it was probably an animal. A raccoon, maybe. The owner warned me about wildlife earlier. Still, something felt wrong. The tapping sounded careful. Slow, almost patient. I turned on my flashlight. The beam shook in my hand. The tapping stopped immediately. That bothered me most. Animals usually keep moving. This thing reacted. I sat there for another 10 minutes. Nothing happened. Eventually, I laughed nervously at myself. I even whispered, "You're losing it." Then my bed moved slightly, just once. Like something underneath pressed against the wood. I've frozen so hard my chest hurt. Another push came seconds later. Small, but deliberate. I slowly pulled my feet onto the mattress. The silence returned. I could hear snow hitting the roof now. My flashlight drifted toward the floor crack again. Something pale was visible inside it. At first, I thought it was wood. Then it blinked. I dropped the flashlight instantly. The beam rolled across the room. I heard fast movement under the floor. Scraping. Shifting. Then, laughter. Very quiet laughter. Not loud. Not human either. I backed into the corner near the kitchen. Then I heard slow footsteps beneath me. They followed my movements exactly. If I stepped left, it stepped left. If I stopped, it stopped too. I wanted to leave, but the front door was across the bedroom. Around 3 a.m., the power died. Everything went black. Then came the smell. Wet dirt. Rotting wood, like an old basement after flooding. I pointed my phone light toward the bedroom again. The floor crack looked wider now. I swear, it had spread open. Something dark moved beneath it. Slowly, like someone crawling. Then came the tapping again. Tap, tap, tap. Directly under my feet this time. I ran for the door. Halfway across, I heard wood snap behind me. I looked back once. A hand was sticking through the floorboards. Gray skin, long fingers, bent the wrong direction. It kept feeling around blindly. Searching. I slammed into the front door. Snow blasted into my face. I ran without shoes, without my coat. I made it to my truck and locked myself inside. The cabin stood completely dark behind me. No movement, no sound. Just snow falling everywhere. Then the cabin light turned back on. Only the bedroom light. A figure stood inside the window. Tall. Still. Watching me. Until it bent down slowly and tapped on the glass from inside. 3 times. Tap. Tap, tap. I drove away immediately. The owner said nobody rented that cabin anymore. Not after the crawl space collapsed last winter, because there was never anything underneath it. Just frozen ground. I still hear tapping sometimes at night. Always in groups of 3. Always under the bed and last week, my mattress moved. The generator shut off at exactly 1:11 a.m. Everything outside the cabin went silent immediately. No wind, no insects, nothing. I stared into the darkness for a few seconds. The silence felt wrong. To complete, the cabin sat deep in the woods. No nearby roads, no neighbors. Just trees, snow, and one dirt trail. I rented it to clear my head for a weekend. That already feels stupid now. The owner warned me about the generator earlier. He said it sometimes stalled during cold nights. I remember joking about horror movies. He didn't laugh. The backup flashlight sat near the fireplace. I grabbed it and checked the windows first. Nothing outside, just snow and darkness. I pulled my coat on and stepped outside. The cold hit instantly. My boots sank into fresh snow. The generator sat behind the cabin, about 30 feet away. The flashlight beam bounced with every step. I noticed another set of footprints halfway there. Not mine. They came from the trees. I stopped walking immediately. The prints looked fresh, deep, like someone stood there recently. I remember telling myself they were old tracks, but they ended beside the generator, and none led away. I crouched beside the machine. The fuel line looked fine. The switch was off, not broken. Turned off. I stared at it for several seconds. Then I heard crunching snow nearby. Slow footsteps. Behind me. I spun around fast. Nothing there. Only trees. Tall, black shapes everywhere. The flashlight shook badly now. I kept scanning the woods. The footsteps stopped too. That was the first moment I felt actual fear. Not panic yet, just that cold feeling in your stomach. I turned the generator back on. The engine coughed loudly. Lights came back inside the cabin. Warm yellow light filled the windows again. I started walking back, then the generator shut off behind me. Instantly, I froze. No delay. No sputtering, just dead silence again. I looked back slowly. The flashlight beam landed on the switch. It was flipped down. I know I turned it on. Something moved near the trees beside the cabin. Fast. Too fast. I ran inside and locked the door. Every curtain stayed open. I wanted to see outside. I sat near the fireplace with a kitchen knife. My phone had no signal. The cabin creaked constantly. I kept hearing faint footsteps outside, circling slowly. Around those AMEs, someone knocked once, very soft. I stopped breathing completely. Another knock followed. 3 seconds later. Not aggressive Almas Palit. I finally forced myself to look through the window. Nobody stood there, but fresh footprints covered the porch. A sense of dim, like someone paced back and forth for hours. That's when I heard the generator start again. By itself, the lights flickered back on. I remember feeling relief for maybe 2 seconds. Then I realized something. The generator controls were outside. Manual only. Someone had restarted it. The cabin lights glowed warmly now, and that made the windows transparent. Anyone outside could see directly inside. While pulling the kitchen curtain shut, I finally saw him standing beside the generator. Tall, thin, wearing a dark winter coat. His face looked pale under the porch light, but I couldn't see his eyes. He just stood there motionless. Then the lights died again. Darkness swallowed everything. I heard footsteps running toward the cabin. Fast. The door handle turned slowly. Very slowly, like whoever stood there enjoyed taking their time. Then a voice came through the door. Calm. Almost friendly. You forgot to thank me. Nothing was there. The generator sat dead again, no footprints, not one. The snow looked untouched. While loading my truck, I noticed something near the generator. A small gas can. Not mine. Fresh fuel sat inside it, beside the cap. Someone scratched words into the metal. You used too much. I drove straight back home. He said the last renter disappeared during winter. The police found his truck. The generator was still running. Only one thing written inside the snow beside the trees. Thank you for the light. Now every time my apartment loses power, I hear footsteps outside first. The whisper came before the knocking. That's the part I can't stop thinking about. I woke suddenly around 2 a.m. No reason, no nightmare. Just awake. The cabin bedroom felt freezing cold. My breath drifted faintly above me. The fire downstairs had already burned out. I reached for my phone. No signal. 2:07 a.m. Then I heard whispering outside the window. Soft. Close. Too close. At first, I couldn't understand the words. It sounded like someone talking through their teeth. Slow. Steady. Almost calm. I stayed completely still in bed. The cabin sat miles from the nearest road. Nobody should have been there, especially during a snowstorm. The whispering continued. Then it stopped suddenly. 3 quiet knocks. Touched the glass beside me. Knock. 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 I turned, slowly, toward the window. The curtain stayed half open. Snow blew outside under weak moonlight. Nothing stood there. I told myself it was branches hitting the cabin, but there were no trees near that side. I knew that because I parked my truck there. Then the whisper returned. Closer this time, right beside the glass. Open it. I felt every hair rise on my arms instantly. The voice sounded wrong somehow. Not deep, not high, just flat. Like someone copying human speech carefully. I grabbed the flashlight beside the bed. My hand shook badly. I pointed the beam toward the window. The whispering stopped immediately. Again, that silence felt worse. I forced myself out of bed slowly. Each floorboard creaked loudly beneath me. The flashlight beam moved across the curtain. Then I noticed footprints outside. Bare footprints in the snow. They stopped directly under my window. No tracks leading away. I stared at them for almost 10 seconds, trying to understand. The snow outside was untouched everywhere else. Only those prints existed. I backed away carefully. That's when something tapped gently against the glass again. Not knocking this time. Fingernails. Slow, dragging scratches. The sound crawled through my chest. I rushed downstairs immediately. The cabin living room felt darker somehow. Smaller. I checked the front door twice. Locked. The kitchen knife sat beside the sink. I grabbed it without thinking. Outside, the storm kept getting worse. Wind slammed snow against the walls. The lights flickered once. Then again, I remember staring at the staircase leading upstairs. The scratching continued above me now. Slow circles around the bedroom window. Then came the whisper again. Only now. It sounded inside the cabin. Open it. I froze completely. The voice came from upstairs. Not outside anymore. I listened carefully. Nothing moved for several seconds. Then footsteps creaked softly above me. Bare footsteps. Slow pacing. Back and forth across my bedroom. I knew nobody entered. I never heard the door open. Still, someone walked upstairs. The pacing continued for almost 5 minutes. I couldn't force myself upstairs again. Every instinct screamed not to. So I stayed downstairs beside the fireplace, sniffing and watching the staircase. Then something rolled slowly down the steps. I nearly screamed. It stopped near my foot. My flashlight beam landed on it, my truck keys. I left them upstairs beside my bed earlier. I know I did. The pacing upstairs stopped after that. Silence filled the cabin again. Then one final whisper drifted down the staircase. You left your window unlocked. I ran for the front door instantly. I didn't care about the storm anymore. I unlocked the door and stumbled outside. Snow hit my face so hard it hurt. I sprinted toward my truck. Halfway there, I looked up once. Someone stood inside the upstairs bedroom window. Tall. Completely dark. Just a shape watching me. I jumped into my truck and locked every door. My hands shook so badly I dropped the keys twice. The engine finally started. Headlights flooded the cabin exterior. That's when I saw the footprints again. Dozens now. All around the cabin, bare human footprints. Every single pair pointed toward the walls, like people stood there listening. I backed the truck away quickly. The upstairs figure never moved, not once. Even after I reached the road, I could still see it standing there. I reported everything the next morning. The local sheriff actually visited the cabin with me. I almost felt stupid by then, but the moment we entered the bedroom, the sheriff stopped walking. The window beside the bed stood wide open. Snow covered the floor inside, and across the wood beneath the window, there were wet footprints. Bare footprints. Leading from the window to the bedroom door. Only one set. The sheriff asked if they were mine. I couldn't answer him, because the footprints ended halfway across the room. The owner boarded the cabin up weeks later. Nobody rents it anymore. But sometimes, late at night, primera hua que up, I hear soft scratching near my apartment window, slow fingernails against glass. Then whispering, very calm, very patient, opening it. The Blackwood Range is a place where the wind doesn't just blow, it screams. It's a wilderness that swallows sound and light alike. For Elias, this cabin was supposed to be a sanctuary, a week of isolation to clear his head, far from the reach of the city. But as the storm intensified, the walls felt thinner. The warmth of the hearth struggled against the creeping frost on the window panes. He looked up at the old rifle mounted above the mantel, a relic of the previous owner. He laughed, wondering why he felt so nervous. Then, it happened. 3 distinct, heavy knocks on the solid oak door. Not the frantic banging of a lost traveler, but something deliberate. Elias froze. It was nearly midnight. The nearest neighbor was miles away, and the roads had been impassable for hours. Silence followed, heavy and suffocating. He gripped the edge of the table, waiting for the sound of a voice. None came. Suddenly, the knocks returned. Identical to the first. He grabbed a flashlight, its beam trembling as it cut through the dim shadows. He approached the window beside the door. A flash of lightning illuminated the porch, revealing a figure standing perfectly still in the snow. The next flash came seconds later. The figure hadn't walked. It had simply appeared closer. It was now leaning against the railing. The cabin lights flickered and died. The hum of the heater vanished, leaving a cold that seemed to seep directly into his bones. A voice whispered through the wood of the door, thin and dry like dead leaves. "You locked it too late," it said. Panique surged. Elias backed into the kitchen, his breath hitching. Outside, he heard the sound of something heavy dragging across the floorboards. Footsteps began to circle the house, crunching in the snow, stopping at every window. He tried his phono signal. He was completely alone. He saw the curtain move. Something was pressing against the glass from the outside, molding the fabric into the shape of a face. Another flash of lightning revealed it, a face so pale it was almost blue, with wide, staring eyes that never blinked. He fled upstairs, locking himself in the bedroom. He looked out the window at the fresh snow. A single set of footprints led away from the house. The realization hit him like a physical blow. If the footprints were leading away, then what was the thing he saw at the window? A voice spoke from the shadows of the closet. The same dry whisper from before. "You saw the wrong footprints," it hissed. Something moved with terrifying speed, crawling low across the floor. Elias didn't think. He raised the rifle and pulled the trigger. He didn't wait to see if he hit it. He threw himself through the glass, falling into the drifts below. He ran for his life toward the truck. As the engine roared to life, he looked back. The cabin lights were on again. Multiple figures stood in the doorway, watching him go. He didn't stop until he reached the town. The sun began to rise, but the cold stayed with him, buried deep in his chest. The police found nothing but an empty house, except for the closet door. On the inside, 3 wet, fresh handprints were scorched into the wood.